we are sitting down across the desktop with Tracy Viars. Tracy Viars owns a company here in Kennesaw, Cobb County area, but you work all over.
I do.
Called Viars Company, correct?
That's correct.
A commercial real estate company, but you dabble in residential from time to time.
Dabble's a good word.
Yeah.
It is truly a dabble.
Yeah, and of course, I've been a residential broker this is my 40th year.
Wow.
Literally in August 4th, I got my license in 1986.
I'm in awe of people who can be in this business that long.
and I still enjoy it.
Right.
I really still enjoy it. And I do probably 85% residential. We own, local real estate here in Kennesaw that's located inside Desktop co-working community that Jackie and I also own, and where we're meeting today. But I've been doing this 40 years, 85% residential, about 15% commercial. We do some leases, and I do that for our company, and we're putting a piece of property on the market today, 5.5 commercial acres that we think is going to be like a residential senior living, zoning.
Give me the details on that.
I'm going to give you the details on that when we get out of here, because I'd love to have you go sell that. But so we're sitting now with Tracy. And so Tracy, welcome to Across the Desktop.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me here today.
We talked about, what is your line? Maybe that's a poor way for me to put that.
I feel like I need to come up with a line now.
So you can steal my line if you want.
There you go.
I did.
What's your line?
My line is, tell me the story of your life in 10 words or less.
Oh, wow.
And
10 words.
And people will ask, okay, you can use more than 10 words, and lets them off the hook. But what I'm trying to do is find out who they are, what their story is, so I can get to know them as a person. And then, I'm coming in and saying, okay, what is perfect? What are you looking for?
Right.
How would we make this perfect for you?
I now tell people, tell me your ultimate. Tell me what if there were everything else, if nothing mattered, what you would want. And then tell me what is a must and what is maybe.
Yeah,
maybe I could have that, I could live without it kind of thing.
And even the
sort
time
of go
frame,
from there.
You're going to be here is this a growing place for you? So it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
So you're going to be here for 2 or 3 years, 5 years? Or is this like, I'm going to die in this commercial space? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And then, okay, so let's.
And it's an ever-changing environment. I'm not sure, too, people know that when they first come in. I mean, look at what happened in the office market from 2020. I mean, I was selling whole office complexes to people who were putting them in their investment portfolios, who now are looking around going, I need to sell this.
Yeah.
I need to divest this.
What happened?
Well, everybody started working at home. The people were already working at home to some extent. And to be honest with you, I feel I'm an OG home worker. I've been working at home since 1995 in one way or another.
Yeah.
And people started working at home. And so, everybody went to the cloud. I mean, from an IT standpoint, all of a sudden you can access information from anywhere. It just became acceptable. During COVID, it became what we had to do.
We had to. Do you think it's a technology, metamorphosis, or do you think it's a practicality kind of change?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I mean, I think the technology rapidly became available so that, it supported us being able to work at home.
It escalated pretty quickly, didn't it?
It did.
I mean, think about how many Zoom calls you were having versus before COVID.
I have friends who own IT businesses who are in a different business now, literally in 6 years than what they were. They used to hold things on physical servers. Yeah. Now everybody, is in the cloud. They want their workers to be able to access the information or files from anywhere they can be.
Yeah.
So it definitely all changed. I think there's a generation coming up under us who are looking for a more flexible lifestyle. I mean, I think we grew up, I don't know how your parents were. You were going to school whether you were sick or not, whether you were having a mental health day or not.
That's right.
You're getting on that bus.
That's right.
But I think there's a generation under us that appreciates a little more balance in life than we do, or than we did, or what we were taught to. I'm starting to appreciate it myself.
Yeah.
But, I think that's changing too. Culturally, we're changing.
Do you have a grandbaby, right?
I don't. Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got 10.
10 grandchildren?
Yeah, 10 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny. I talked to my oldest daughter, who's got 4 of those, and she goes, Dad, every day I hear you in my head. I'm saying these things to my kids.
Bad?
Well, it's funny. We all did this,
right?
We all went. Gosh, my parents were so dumb in my teens, and then they got really smart when I got in my 20s.
Right.
Right. And
then finally got an appreciation for their knowledge.
For their knowledge and their wisdom. So question, tell me the story of your life in 10 words or less. No.
I think I can manage it in 10 words.
We got to go about 25 more minutes here, so
Well, we'll
I need
take up
more.
all that
I need
time.
more than 10 words.
I mean, just to generally tell you how I got into real estate,
Yeah.
maybe. As a young teen in early 20s, I always loved looking at Architectural Digest, interior magazines. So for whatever reason, my young brain said, well, I should sell real estate. So I got my first real estate license when I was 21.
Dang.
I mean, and you'll appreciate this because you're in real estate, and I don't know what your license number is, but mine starts with a 1.
Mine does too.
Yeah, so people see it and they think,
But you're younger than me.
she's
so.
been in real estate for 40 years,
Yeah.
But I, as a 21-year-old, got into it, started interviewing agencies, and realized it's a straight commission job. And you pay all your own expenses. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. My friends aren't buying houses. I don't have, the kind of leads that some of the people have or the kind of background. So I went ahead and went out and worked in the corporate world. I worked for Kohler Company, the high-end plumbing company.
Yeah.
So it still got me around real estate. I worked with architects and engineers, and I got to go in a lot of beautiful homes in North Florida, looking at all of that, bringing people in, trying to help people make decisions.
Is that where you're from?
No, I'm from Atlanta.
Okay.
One of the only
first job
one of
in
the few.
Florida, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I took a job in North Florida, but my territory was all over North Florida. It was a great job. I left that to go back into marketing and started working mostly for myself. I worked for a couple of marketing agencies and then kind of quickly realized I'm more of an entrepreneur by soul. Mm-hmm. And, I'm looking at these guys making money on what I'm doing, and I'm like, yeah, I could do this myself. So I basically self-taught myself. I was already a good writer. I had always been a good writer. And I basically self-taught myself graphic design and, different marketing. And I did a lot of writing work, a lot of commercial writing work. Eventually, I went back and got a master's in creative writing. I got the degree I wanted.
Wow.
See,
I've known you all these years, and I didn't know you were so academically.
I did a master's degree.
Thanks.
I've spent 25 years doing graphic design and marketing. Okay. I was literally a starving artist. So, it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. And of course, it allowed me to stay home with my kids, which was something that I wanted. And, I could work and be home. And, they didn't go to daycare. They went to a little church school. But I got to see all the milestones, which is what I wanted, And
you were doing it when there wasn't AI or ChatGPT and say, I want a picture that looks like this and describe it, and it does it for you.
You had to hire a photographer to make a picture. Right. I mean, I remember when they had to run film, everything wasn't desktop. I did get in really early. PageMaker, I think was the name of the program.
I remember it. Yeah.
And then eventually it turned into InDesign, which is what it is now. And I still use that to do my real estate brochures. So see, I don't have to pay anybody to do that.
Yeah.
But so I did that for 25 years, and then I started getting involved in the city. It was like, I want to do something for my community. I want to serve my community. I served on a couple of boards, and then someone asked me if I would like to serve on the Downtown Development Authority.
Right.
And I'm like, here we are again. I've been writing about architects and engineers and builders. I've been doing marketing for people in that field, and now this is a way for me to look at how a city develops. So it was a great opportunity for me. I spent 6 years on that board, 3 as the chair. I quickly rose to chair because had so much energy and was so excited about helping the city get where I think it needs to be. And so in doing that, I kind of got back into the real estate piece again. I saw people coming to town and trying to figure out where they might want to open a business or, what would be the appropriate spot for them or what can you do with this land or what else could this building be? And I just got super interested in it again.
Was that the creative side kind of coming out?
Yeah, you know what? I've always been a weird dichotomy of part creative, part business. I almost sometimes wish I could choose a side, and specialize. But
you're one of those people who can maybe look at a plan, a set of plans, and see it built.
Right.
I would imagine.
Or
not many people can do that.
Or sometimes tell people this isn't really going to work, and that's not always what they want to hear.
Yeah, because you look at the plan and you go, yeah, this flow isn't right, or
it's really not
this
going to
room's
work
too
for what
small,
you need.
or this needs to be more open.
And sometimes that's hard for people to take. It's not always what they want to hear. But I started watching people, like I said, come to town. I thought, I'll get a real estate license again. Well, guess what? I had let the first one expire because I had moved to another state. I was doing other things. It's a lot harder in your 50s to take that real estate test than it is in your 20s. I did fine. I passed.
Sure.
And then I worked for somebody for 2 years, or I guess 3 years, because you have to for the state. And then went and got my own broker's license. Back to that entrepreneur thing.
I don't think the state exam has changed much, as far as the information from 86 to 2026.
It is largely based on residential real estate, though.
It is?
There's a part of me that would advocate for a separate license. And, anybody could get both licenses, but they're such different. There's a lot similar, but there's a lot of different focus.
Yeah.
And
no, it's absolutely true.
I mean, there's 1 inch of commercial in all of that studying.
Right.
And
you have to figure out what cap rate.
And there's not even a lot of great class offerings in commercial. You kind of have to, it's almost like on the job training.
Yeah. When you do your CE, do you find enough commercial classes to accomplish 36 hours now?
You really have to watch for them. And in 2025, they changed the law. So there are these broker level classes.
I just got done with it. Yeah.
And it seems to me the courseware is not there yet.
Yeah.
Every time I see one and there's an opportunity, I grab it.
Yeah.
But,
I'm more of a procrastinator.
Me
my
too.
gosh, I still need 18 hours. And it's all commercial. I mean, it's all broker.
I like to get things done because the thing is, you've got the 4 years. I don't want the 4 years. I don't want to have to take them all at the end of the 4 years and then the renewal to slide up on me and have to start over.
Are you a very organized person?
Not really. It's scattered, organized chaos. I mean, I think people in real estate are generally kind of that way. Your head has to be in so many different places, all the time. And it's,
I'm more scattered.
Yeah,
like
it's a roller coaster. It's
yeah.
literally I don't think people realize how much it's a roller coaster.
I married organization.
Oh, well, good for you.
Yeah. So, Jackie's organized.
Oh, well, at least you have that.
She loves writing down the thing we have to do that day and then checking the boxes.
Oh, yeah.
And then she'll do 3 more things. And then she'll write them down so she can check the box.
I think I used to do that. I think I just got to the point where everything was moving on to another day. So I just said, forget it. I'm just going to do what needs to get done.
Do you just do what I do and I just take the arrow and move it over?
Pretty much.
Because I still have a day timer.
Well, and you know how real estate is, and I'm sure it's changed. You've been in 40 years, so I just came back in 2018. But in a world of 24/7 access, everything's changed.
Yeah.
Now everything's an emergency, it seems like. And everybody's sitting on $1 million property.
Tell me about, oh my gosh. It's funny. The first house I sold in 1986 was a 69.9. It backed up to a railroad track.
I mean, that's a car now.
And I know, right? And probably that house would be a $350,000 house down in Powder Springs.
Oh, easily.
Still backing up to the railroad track, obviously, and about 1,500 square feet. It'd be $350,000.
If you can touch it for the threes. I mean, I feel like the 400 to 500 is starting to be the starter home level. If you live close to jobs and things.
Well, average in Cobb County is $418,000.
Yeah.
That's the average sales price.
I mean, as a 20-something buying my first house, that would have been quite intimidating.
Oh, I know, wouldn't it? Yeah, we had people coming into Northside Realty in 1986 say, we just put something on, off of Paper Mill Road under contract for $360,000. We thought, oh my gosh, that's a mansion.
And now you're looking at millions out there.
I know.
That's in a beautiful area.
Let's talk about commercial real estate for a second.
Okay.
So I know you're very prolific in the leasing space, representing both owners, landlords and tenants.
Right.
What do you love to do?
Try to be prolific in a little bit of everything these days. But I mean, there's a lot of people think I only work in Kennesaw, and it's not true. I mean, I did deals in Ackworth, Powder Springs, Woodstock, Austell even last year. But I do love Kennesaw.
As far away as Austell?
Right? It was a piece of land, too.
Yeah.
But, and I just did a lease in Powder Springs for somebody that's here in Kennesaw that's expanding. So I love to see people pursue their dream and help them find a home for their dream. Yeah. I think is probably one of my favorite things to do. I mean, when, I recently moved a hairdresser to another space because the space she was in wasn't working, and she won't let me pay her. Every time she's like, I owe you this. And I'm like, you don't owe me anything. I got paid for what I did for you. And she goes, no, you saved me. And I'm like, you're giving me way too much credit. But I love, working with people with their stories, with, what's going to work in their life. As far as specializing, I mean, I've sold office complex. I've sold building condos. I've sold freestanding units. I've leased all those things. I've worked on both sides, on the seller and the buyer side. I generally work on the seller side for the most part, I guess just because I have a decent Rolodex of contacts. But I do love working in Kennesaw because I have been so intimately involved in this community. I know all the backstories. I mean, I can look at a building and tell you all 10 uses it's had over 20 years or, who's owned it or why they sold it or, it's fun. And I always tell people because, they get these fancy buckhead agents that come in that, have these beautiful offices. And of course, we all have access to the same data. We all have the same databases, the same, systems. But it really does help to get somebody who is either so intimately aware of the space, as in like you only work in warehouse or you only work in office, or somebody who's so intimately aware of the area. Because I can tell you, hey, there's a road going up behind that building, or, there's talk of a change over there, with a road or with, whatever. But, with Kennesaw especially, if they start talking about ordinances, I can give you the insight. I can tell you what you are going to be able to do and aren't going to be able to do in that zoning. I can tell you, I think that property, will work for this or it won't work for that. And
what is the plan for Kennesaw? Because it seems like, Kennesaw has, and I've had this business here at Desktop for 9 years now.
Yeah.
I had an office from 2006 to 2017 at the entrance to Legacy Park, so another 10, 11 years. And so I've been here a good while. It seems like we've seen Ackworth explode. We've seen, downtown Woodstock explode, Cartersville. And it seems like Kennesaw is just, kind of just now starting to, get on that same trajectory.
Yeah, I tell people, honestly, I think it's unfair to compare Kennesaw to Ackworth or Woodstock, those two specifically, or even Marietta. If you look we have challenges. I mean, if you look at our main street, it gets busy around, let's say, where Pisano's is, and then it turns off where the barbershop is. I mean, we have First Baptist Church, which I love. It's a wonderful organization, and they're very helpful with the city and help the city. But they have like 13 acres right in downtown. We still have people living on Main Street. Nobody lives on Main Street in Ackworth. Nobody lives on Main Street.
It's a good point. They live off, 2-3 levels off.
Right.
Yeah.
All of their buildings have been converted to business. We have, and in a little bit, I want to say to my chagrin, but we have really held to more of the historical. And while historical is beautiful, historical buildings are very expensive to upkeep. And I run another business out of a historical building right now, and that. And it's very difficult. The technology, the systems just don't run the way they could and should in new construction.
Tell me the mindset behind, if it was built in 1925 or before, we can't touch it. And we have to restore it.
Dave, I wish I could get a hold of that mindset because I did. I lived in a house that was built in 1913 when I lived in Macon years ago. I loved that house. It was beautiful. It had details that new construction doesn't have. Yeah. But it was a constant source of problem. Constant.
Yeah.
But, people want to hang on to that. And it does have some kind of romantic notion about it. But there comes a day sometimes where you just have to, move on with the future.
I'm really talking more from the city's perspective. Oh. The Historical Preservation Society, and they come in and they say, well, yeah, you can do that, but...
I think each city's different, and I think it depends on how much power you give that society. I think people have to remember, though, HPC is still just a run-through. It's a review. They can't, you can still go to council. And they'll probably kill me for saying that, but
Yeah, we may have to edit that out. I'll tell you later. But
give credit where credit is due. Beautiful old buildings can be beautiful. You have to have the right people taking care of them. And once they go into decline, it's really hard to pull it back without investing millions. And just for a small business, that doesn't work.
Which doesn't allow people to do it. So therefore, it sits there old.
Right.
Instead of taking that piece of land. And be able to do something cool with it, even if you're making it a new building look old.
It's hard to put $1 million in 1,200 square feet and make that work. The numbers just don't work.
Right.
It's a romantic notion. It's beautiful when people do it. It just, you see what it leads to. They don't usually stay around very long.
What do you think has been your biggest success in real estate? And I'm not talking about one particular deal necessarily.
Right.
But what do you think has been your biggest success in this journey of yours?
Wow, that's a good question. I think it just goes back to helping people. I think that when I take somebody on as a client, I get to know them very well. I've always been, I think, a pretty good judge of character as far as feeling out what makes people be motivated? What makes them pull a trigger or change? Or, I can tell when they're delighted with the space or not. I can tell when they know whether it's going to work or not. Sometimes I can tell when they're settling when they shouldn't, But I also have always been very good, and this is, I think, I'm not a politician, even though I know I have the role. I'm not a politician. But what I have always been able to do is get people together who don't agree at all and get them to find some middle ground. And that's, to me, that's always been my strong point. And in negotiation, that's huge to me.
Well, and that's what we do in the real estate business.
And some people are better at it than others.
We try and pull two opposing forces together.
Right.
I always tell people, we have to come to a meeting of the minds. You as the seller have to go, I really wanted to get more, but I'm good with this.
Yeah.
And the buyer has to go, I really wanted to get it for less, but I'm good with this.
And I always try to figure out what that continuum is.
Yeah.
What's the most you're willing to go? What's the least you're willing to go? Let's ask for the most and let's see, where it goes.
Sure.
But let's don't be ridiculous, and think about the person on the other side. And, you don't offer, if someone's offering something for $4 million, you don't come in at $2 million. That's never going to work.
Do you believe in win-lose or do you believe in win-win?
I think it's win-win.
Yeah.
I've had some deals blow up where just somebody took an attitude and that was it. But generally, we almost always get there.
Yeah.
I have only had 2 deals in my little real estate career since 2018 that didn't close or finish.
That's strong.
I think so.
Yeah.
We've always gotten there. Now, sometimes not as fast as people want us to.
Have you ever had to fire a client?
I have. Yep.
Yeah.
I just, I just said, I think that we would both be served better for you to find somebody else.
Sure.
And I think they agreed.
And part friends and yeah.
I'm always going to say to the client, you're the boss, but let me tell you from my expertise what I know.
Sure.
You can listen or don't listen.
Yeah.
But, you're still the boss.
My favorite line there is, I work for you. You don't work for me. So, let's get that straight. But I know how to drive this bus. You don't.
Right.
So all I'm asking for you to do is tell me where you want to go, and I'll get you there. That's right. And I'll get you there. Yeah.
For me too, I think I've learned a lot being on the government side.
Yeah.
As far as, going in and talking to, and I don't talk to Kennesaw about incentives, but other cities about incentives. Cities, downtown areas want to grow and they want walkable areas. They want walkable services. And, that a lot of times look like hospitality, which is a very expensive business to get started and run. Right. And so if you can get help,
when you talk about incentives, be specific, because some people might go, what kind?
So I won't name the city, but I recently worked in a city to establish a lease for a client who wanted to put a restaurant in an old building. Mm-hmm. Well, the building sat where there was no way to put a grease trap in. Well, you can't have a restaurant without a grease trap.
Sure.
So the city said, well, no problem. We have a shared grease trap here. Well, the shared grease trap didn't have enough capacity for this restaurant. And I said, well, that's not going to work either because they can't make their numbers work with that capacity. So basically, we worked with the city to have the city install a grease trap on the city's property.
At the city's expense.
And this client will clean out the grease trap. But you know what it did? It occupied a building that's been unoccupied for years.
Yeah. And probably helped out the other people using that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just, every time you add something downtown, more people get excited. More people come. There's more customers. Something else happens.
What has been the biggest challenge, of your career? And then I want to go back, ask you briefly about the government thing too, because you mentioned government a couple of different times. So just what is your role in Kennesaw? But what has been your biggest challenge, in your business?
To me, the challenge right now, and I don't know if everybody feels this way, is the sellers are in 2020 and the buyers are in 2008. There's never been a bigger gap to me between.
We're talking about mindset and expectation.
Right. Like I said, everybody's sitting on $1 million property. Right. And people, prices have just gotten crazy to me. I think we're set for a reset, and I hate that.
I think we are too.
But if we don't, we're going to leave a whole generation of people that won't own houses and won't own buildings.
Start businesses,
Right. It's, my kids are in their 20s.
The only people that it seems like are making commercial real estate work is REITs, New York type companies that own these things, or people who have already been there for 20 years. And they're able to thrive because, they didn't finance that thing in 2024.
Well, One nice thing that came out of 2020 and COVID, I think, is people began to look at it in a way, my world could change in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And they became more entrepreneurial, and people are becoming more creative. And because of all of the technology and access and GPT and everything, there are so many more options now. And so, it does produce a nice field of people who are always looking for space, which I love. I mean, I am amazed.
It's smaller spaces, though, isn't it?
Right.
A lot of smaller spaces.
But I'm amazed at what people do for a living. I think that's what's so fun to me is I'm like, you make a living doing that?
Yeah.
And they do.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite story from a client, and this is someone who worked for somebody, but I showed him a house, he bought it, and 1 year later he calls me to sell it.
Oh, no.
And I go, what's going on?
That usually doesn't work out well.
I'm getting transferred. He was working for, I think it was John Harlan. They were the check printing company, right? And so I come back in and look at his house, see what he's done to it. He's done a lot of cool things to it. He takes me into the bedroom and he goes, I got something I need to show you. It's kind of a cool thing. But he pushes a button and this mirror, this like 4 foot wide, 8 foot tall mirror moves. And we go in there and there's tactical equipment everywhere.
Oh, strange.
So he was like a special ops guy.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it was really, really cool.
That is cool.
I told him, okay, we're going to need you to move out.
We can't be showing this house with
Can't
that
be
stuff
showing
in
the
there.
tactical. This is cool. I want to show it. And so, he got transferred, went to Timbuktu.
Well, hopefully he had some funding from somewhere else to help get out of that situation.
Well, he was getting transferred with the government.
Okay.
To whatever his next duty station was or where they wanted him. But it was very, very cool. I think, Harlan checks, big deal. But that was a cover.
Yeah.
That was a cover of what he really did.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what would, let's go back into the government thing.
Okay.
So what is your role with the city of Kennesaw?
I've been a city council member since 2018. Okay. Like I said, I served on the Downtown Development Authority before that.
Yeah. You dipped your toes in.
I did all kinds of crazy stuff from helping run the farmers market to the dinner at the depot. I don't even remember when we had the food trucks.
Yeah.
Now I get involved with there's a group called the Kennesaw Downtown Merchants Association. We're running little concerts on Main Street.
Yeah.
Basically to get more things to do in Kennesaw besides just eat and drink. Yeah. And to bring people to Main Street, to have a reason for people to come downtown.
Well, you got a pretty cool venue now.
Well, we do, but we don't do our concerts in the amphitheater.
Really?
So the amphitheater is city run, and that's a big deal. That's a big show. That requires, security and sound people and people to pick up trash and all that. We do ours over in the plaza, and it's small, probably 200, 250 people come visit, but people kind of walk up and walk out and they go get something to eat or go get a drink and they come back over. And it's just been a great little way to get people downtown. And maybe they don't shop
the plaza's down where the tunnel is. Correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't shop your store that night, but, they make mental note. Hey, there's that. I've not ever been there. Let's try it next time we're in town or whatever. And, we've had great help from some of the people that run music venues around here are getting acts for us. And so some really good acts.
Yeah.
For a small venue where it's just real intimate and fun and people it's like a neighborhood gathering.
What's your city council experience been like?
It's challenging at times.
It is.
It is.
Dealing with people's challenging, isn't it?
Dealing with people can be challenging. I mean, I do thoroughly enjoy it. And I have said from the very beginning, I came here to make Kennesaw better. I don't cater to one political party or another. I just try to do what I think, is going to serve the most people the best.
Yeah.
And but development, of course, has always been one of my hot spots. I mean, I came here to see Kennesaw develop, and I think we've done a good job. I think we have more work to do.
Yeah.
But, if you look at all the changes we've had, even over the last 10 years, when I moved
fairly dramatic, yeah.
Well, when I moved to Kennesaw, I moved here with a spouse that was going to be working here. And he drove me up to Legacy Park, and I don't know if you remember what it looked like in 1995. There was a driving range on Giles Road.
Where the rental place is now, and you got Credit Union Georgia was like a tech center.
Right, and I don't even think that public shopping center was there. It was probably woods.
No.
I wish I had pictures from back then.
It was industrial.
Well, I remember driving in Legacy Park and thinking, wow, this feels like paradise, but why would anybody want to live all the way out here? I know. And then we drove to downtown, and there were broken windows and storefronts and empty storefronts. And, when I first came on DDA, BurgerFi was just coming around, and they were kind of the first oh, wow, something's coming. And Revival came online, and that changed everything. I mean,
Sure.
all of a sudden you have people walking downtown, which we didn't have before.
Yeah, I remember the Whistle Stop Cafe.
Yep, I remember Whistle Stop as well.
So we'd go there, and you had the train running around, and you could get a full breakfast for $2.99.
And then there was another breakfast place where Pisano's is now.
I don't remember.
It was
that
called
one.
Old Country something.
Yeah.
Some country something. I don't remember, but
Something with a biscuit in it.
yeah, it had biscuits and eggs and all kinds of stuff. But it has been a good transformation. But I don't ever aspire to be Woodstock, honestly, because or even Ackworth. We don't have that building stock from the early 1900s that is a 1,200 square foot space that you can affordably lease. In Kennesaw, you have to go find a property that's been in a family 3 or 4 generations. Fight with the historical people to tear it down, and then build it. What, $350 a square foot at this point?
Yeah.
It's a different thing. And to be honest with you, I don't know that I want to be Woodstock. I love Woodstock. I go to Woodstock. I have a good time there. I've had some wonderful meals and experiences there.
Yeah.
But I know I can go to Kennesaw. I can drive up. I can still walk in and know everybody in the place. Mm-hmm. I can always find a parking space.
It's a little Mayberry, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I'm never going to wait an hour for dinner, which I'm sure the restaurant owners here would like to have.
Sure.
But I can go right in. There's some value to that.
Yeah.
I guess it's be careful what you wish for.
Well, that's true. We could come in here in the next 5 years, build 1 million square feet of commercial retail space. Yeah.
Well,
and try and do that. But what would be the trade-off?
And retail's the question, really. I mean, if you read the commercial real estate, it sounds like retail's doing great. I mean, there's not a lot of vacancy. But if you look at trends from 2020, so much is going through the mail. I mean, where I live in multifamily. Right. There must be 100 Amazon drivers come a day. Yeah. All bringing 1 package, 2 packages, whatever. That's all changed. I would love to see Kennesaw get more retail. I think that's one area we have a true weakness in. Mm-hmm. We have a couple of gift shops, but I'd love to have a women's boutique. I'd love to have a little gourmet food store, where you could pick up some fun, entertaining items. Maybe a little wine store.
I think that's probably the thing is that I hear, because we're 3/4 of a mile outside of that downtown.
Yeah.
Here at the corner of Giles and Main Street.
But still walkable.
We tell them it's still walkable.
It is.
Not for me anymore. I got to get new knees.
Depends on the shoes I'm wearing.
But you can do it. I mean, right. You've got 5,000 days in a row that you walk.
That's right.
Which is amazing to me. Yeah, I think that's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it over 5,000?
Yeah, I think it's 5,024 this morning. I have to look every day because I can't remember the day before.
5,024 days in a row has Tracy Viars gone for a walk. You can do it.
Yes, you can. And it's good for your body, health, your heart, your soul, your everything, your mental peace.
Yeah.
And I see people when I'm out walking, I have people honking the horn. Hey, y'all.
I honk at you every time I go by. Yeah.
I have people all the time at the distillery tell me, are you the one that walks every day? I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
But
the distillery. Tell me about the distillery.
The distillery is Lazy Guy Distillery. We've been in business since 2013, open to the public since 2014. We've bought a piece of property and are hoping to expand here soon. We're one of the businesses that's running in an old house. And though it's been a wonderful home and it's charming, and we already have customers tell us they're going to miss it. Yeah. We have to kind of recreate some of that charm somehow in a new building. But we're ready to step it up, to go to the next level. We're going to want to have food, and we want to be able to do events and have some indoor seating. We don't even have indoor seating. Can you imagine the challenge of running a business in Georgia?
That's hard.
With no indoor seating?
Yeah. Do you put your brew in paper bags?
We do.
So people can walk out with it.
Well, that's kind of the law. You have to take it out in a bag. We are definitely following the law.
Yeah.
But
what's our timing? What's our timing, you think? As far as opening, building, because you got to go through the whole construction process.
Well, we have been through the engineering and the architecture and the civil and all this. We're waiting on some other documents, legal documents, to square some things away, and just working with the banks now to put together a package that they like.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a tough time in the alcohol industry. If you look at the headlines, you look at national trends, it looks as if sales are down. Our sales have been up every year. So, but we are different than those people that are having that hard time. They depend on distribution. Our distribution is almost nil.
Right.
I mean, we sell almost everything out the front door.
Yeah.
We don't, the hard thing about depending on distribution, I guess is why I'm an entrepreneur, is you got to wait for somebody else to sell your product.
Right.
And wait for somebody else to handle it the way you want it handled.
Yeah.
So we don't do that. I mean, we basically have people come to the distillery, enjoy themselves. They have parties, they have friends, they have reunions, we've had weddings, we've had wedding parties, we've had baby showers, believe it or not.
And then they enjoy the product, and then they buy a bottle or two to take home.
Well, and not only do they enjoy the product, I know they enjoy the product, it's solid. I mean, Mark makes the best drinks in Cobb County, I will say.
Yeah.
But they enjoy the camaraderie. They become friends. I mean, we have people that are friendly with each other, go out other places that met at the distillery. They enjoy, I think everybody enjoys going to a place where you know people. They walk up.
It's cheers, isn't it?
It is cheers without the accents. It's, they come up, they know each other, they're comfortable with each other, they know each other's life stories. It's amazing watching that take on, watching them form those relationships. So it's more than just drinking. Mm-hmm. It just truly is.
Is it, in a way, it's an extension of what you do with the city and with your real estate business. Everything's about relationships,
It's all this
isn't it?
crazy circle that, all circles around, because I've met people at the distillery that I've done real estate deals with. Yeah. Not on purpose. They started talking about things. I'm like, well, I do that for a living. Uh-huh. So it is. I meet people in all kinds of places. And I had spent 12 years, I don't know if you remember, doing the marketing for Legacy Park.
Oh, I do remember.
So
back when Lisa was there.
I met every business owner in Kennesaw. I mean, I came into this knowing a lot of people. Yeah. And, that would be my advice to anybody wanting to get into real estate, is it really is a people business. Mm-hmm. And you really do need to make contacts and know people.
You talked earlier about, when you started, you had a Rolodex.
Right.
Was a lot of that from, your work with Legacy Park?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I met people all over that were just starting their businesses. I mean, you're advertising in a very large and influential neighborhood in Kennesaw, but you're still advertising in a little newsletter for a neighborhood. There was a lot of startups. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing some of the people, how big they've gotten from just starting there.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
No.
I called about a month ago. I was like, I want to put a flyer in there. Yeah, we don't do that.
No, like, it's mailed. It's print. You could do a print on page ad. Yeah. But when I left, at the time I left, they were stopping. That's sort of part of why I moved on, was they had hired a company that was doing newsletters for multiple neighborhoods, and they could do some volume buying and whatnot. And, it was getting mailed instead of having the Boy Scouts. But it was.
There was something about the Boy Scouts delivering their newsletter.
I mean, and looking forward to it being in your mailbox instead of sorted with your regular mail. There was, but I see the progression, how things change. We were just getting there. I'm surprised they haven't gone all online, to be honest, at this point. I think they still print, but. Well,
maybe so. It's probably coming. I think there's a sadness to that, though.
I do, but I think it stops at our generation. I think younger people are just as comfortable reading on their phone as they are. I'll still, Dave, I go through wads of paper, because even when I'm reading a contract, I will print it out and mark it up.
Me too.
That's how my brain works.
Yeah. I want to see it.
Yeah, I will absolutely. Yeah. I'll tell the person, look, I just read it, but you're gonna have to wait for me to get home and print it out before I need to really read it. Yeah. And I'm trying to embrace the technology, but my brain still works that way. But my son, who's getting his master's degree, writes entire papers on his phone. Yeah. I'm like, I don't even know how you do that.
I don't either.
Of course, your vision's not what it used to be either. So reading on the phone's a little different.
I can see close.
Right? Exactly. Well, my arms aren't long enough to see what I need to see.
Do you think AI is going to change our business?
I think that it is. I think it's already changing our business. And personally, I'm trying to find out how to put it in my business without it weakening other skills that I have, because I've got other agents who are like doing whole proposals in AI. And basically the AI is doing the work for them. Right. But then again, I read things that are AI and I can tell sometimes, and it just sounds stiff.
It does.
But I guess it's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah. It's too perfect.
I hate to think, I don't know, did you ever see the movie WALL-E?
Oh, yeah.
The Disney movie where everybody got so lazy because everything was done for them. I have some level of fear that we're going to turn into that.
Yeah. See, I'm more afraid of iRobot.
Yeah, there you go.
Will Smith,
But. Right. I mean, I do need to get better at it. I think everybody needs to get better at it. I think if you don't embrace it, you're going to get left behind to some extent.
Yeah.
But I don't know to what level.
I become friends with a professor at Kennesaw State who runs their technology department out of the Coles College of Business. His name is Aaron French. Okay. And he, I heard him speak to students, and he reminded all of them that AI is stupid.
Right.
It's an aggregator of information.
And where does it get that information?
From us.
You know, yeah, but sometimes it gets it from Reddit. For goodness sakes.
I'm just saying that it has to be inputted by a human.
Right.
Yeah, at some point. And then it can go out there and grab it all together.
It's just scanning stuff.
Exactly. You know? And finding keywords and things like that and bringing it together and then coming up with what they think you want as a solution.
Right.
He said, so don't ever forget that AI is dependent upon us. Yeah, and so people were talking about how it's going to replace 50% of white-collar workers.
I mean, I hope that's not the case.
I hope so, too.
I mean, I think there's always space for people.
I think it's going to disrupt some. The ones that don't embrace it.
Absolutely going to disrupt some.
The ones that don't embrace it and use it as a tool will get left behind. The ones who do become very, very efficient at what they do.
I agree.
At their jobs.
I mean, the other thing that worries me about AI is the same thing that worries me in general about social media. There's so much misinformation out there. There's so much that is actually opinion and not fact. Mm-hmm. And AI is picking up on all that too.
Yeah.
I mean.
And misinformation becomes fact.
Right. Yeah. If it's repeated enough, then all of a sudden it's true.
Right.
I mean, we see it happen on social media too. It's just a different world we're living in.
What, as we end up here, as we finish up, how would your friends describe you?
Energetic, all in. Always willing to help, I think. I think that's what they would say. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I should probably come up with something negative. Like unorganized.
That's right. What would you say? Wonderfully disorganized?
I mean, I think one annoying habit that I have, and this probably plays into AI and social media and everything, I'll be in a conversation and somebody will say a word or somebody will say, whatever happened to that? And I'm on the phone going, what did happen to that? Because I want the answer right then. Uh-huh. I don't want to go home and get the answer. I want to know right now. So I stop what I'm doing and look it up.
You and Jackie. Jackie will come up with something like that. And we'll be doing something with friends, and she'll start looking and say, honey, we can do that later.
Yeah, you can. But it's that quest for the answer. I want to know. Yeah. Like now that we're talking about it, now I want to know. Yeah. So, I can be pretty bad about that at times.
Well, all of those adjectives that you used for yourself, I've known you a lot of years now.
We have known each other for a long time.
It's been a while. And I would say that those are all very accurate.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for sitting down across the desktop for me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tracy, it's been a wonderful conversation.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right.